Now, from the edge of Clark Gable's mustache, it's the IGN DigiGods. Please welcome two men who stole Miss Scarlett's vittles, Wade Major and Mark Kaiser.
Wow, there's a reference. Miss Scarlett's Vittles. Bob, who is digging deep, way deep?
I don't know. Oh, a guy named Joe.
Joe who?
Joe Everett. Joe Everett.
See, Joe is the name that everyone uses to describe someone whose name they can't pronounce. And Bob couldn't pronounce that one either. Yes, sir.
Way to pretend like Bob is really here.
I know.
Although, we're running out of... How many intros do we have left?
We got 6 left.
6 left.
So we are soliciting new intros. We're getting a lot of good submissions. Come on, you folks. You know how the intros go. So send them on in. gods@digigods.com. Gods@digigods.com. Send us your intros along with your name so we can fairly attribute them when we finally get around to recording them. And we got 6 more left. It's going to take us probably through September, and then starting in, let's say, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. October, starting in October, I guess we'll start with new ones.
Oh, it's too damn funny.
It is funny.
All right, Wade, I'm looking at the DVDs.
Yes.
I see a lot of kids stuff. I got to tell you, I really am not happy right now.
We won't spend much on the kids stuff. It's just, I'm looking. There's a lot of Bob the Builder and Smurfs and Barney and Thomas and Friends and Dora.
Hang on,
Shaun the Sheep.
No, Shaun the Sheep. Okay.
Yeah. Sesame Street.
Here's what you have.
Yes.
And I'm doing this.
Yo Gabba Gabba.
I'm doing this as a service to our friends who listen on an iPod.
Yes.
You have. Shall I give you? You have 12 minutes.
12 minutes to go through all this?
Talk about all the kids stuff.
Oh my gosh!
Well, wait, hang on. Hang on. You know what? I'm going to set a timer for 12 minutes.
Okay.
I'm not kidding. I'm setting a timer for 12 minutes.
Do it.
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, rock and roll. If you got little kids, here's what they are in for.
Everybody else can
just
fast forward to minute 13 of this podcast because the first 12 will be about this crap.
Oh my gosh. Okay. We got a bunch of stuff here from Mill Creek. Mill Creek releases a lot of good kid stuff. The Ultimate Collection of All About. 10 episodes. I was completely unfamiliar with this before, but this is kind of like a Tell Me Why thing if you ever grew up with Tell Me Why. This is just teaching kids about all kinds of stuff. Boats, ships, cars, construction, buildings, cowboys, dinosaurs, horses, fire engines, you name it. For the little ones, the little tykes. Also from Mill Creek is Timeless Animated Favorites. This is interesting. 10 mediocre animated shorts, but some relatively, it'll keep them busy in front of the TV. Got things like, none of this is the Disney stuff. Pocahontas, Snow White, Little Mermaid, Hercules, Thumbelina, Little Princess, Beauty and the Beast. All of this done not Disney style, but each one of them lasts about 45 minutes. It's good for people who, real little kids that don't care, and they just want to learn the fairy tales, and you got to keep them busy. The Littles absolutely freak me out. I've never gotten used to these weird elfin strange characters. 29 episodes here, the complete collection. You know what? It's got a following. It's kind of weird, but there it is. We also got the Best of the Get Along Gang, which is just more talking animals. Our friend Tim Cogshell always says he doesn't like animated films because he has a problem with anthropomorphic animals. And I don't normally agree, but in this case it does kind of creep me out. But anyway, this is also from the same bunch of people, the same animation team that does The Littles, so it shouldn't be any surprise. And then this is all still part of the whole cookie jar thing, which is the line of kid stuff that gets released from Mill Creek. And then lastly from Mill Creek is a couple of Richard Scarry things. We love Richard. Well, I love Richard Scarry. You didn't like Richard Scarry growing up, did you?
I did not.
All those picture books. I love all those little cute little animals.
They scarred me. Scarry
awesome.
Scarred me.
This is The Busy World of Richard Scarry Volume 2, Fun in Busy Town. And then we've also got The Busy World of Richard Scarry, Good Times Never End. I just love the artwork. I really do. It's, Richard Scarry has a really... His regular picture books are the best, but even in animated form, there's just something really, really very sweet and endearing about his particular style of art. And the way that he draws animals and personifies them, I find it very, very charming. We also got 4 DVDs here. This is all part of the HBO series El Perro y Gato.
Domo Arigato, Mr. Roboto?
Yes, El Perro y Gato. If you haven't seen this, you're missing out on some of the weirdest freak. This is like somewhere between Ren and Stimpy and South Park. I got to be honest. Except it's not really for adults. It's a preschool thing, and it's just it's like paced up weird kind of animation. It's no way to really adequately describe it. Like somebody cut these things out of construction paper. But the whole point of this is about learning things in English and in Spanish. It airs on HBO Family and HBO Latino, and it's kind of teaching preschoolers, how to how to be bilingual, which I don't have a problem with. I wish they'd come out with one of these for Chinese and French and other languages.
Not with that animation. I'm sorry.
No, maybe not.
I mean, come on.
Anyway, we've got the adventure begins, Unleashed, from here to there and together again. And I'm not a preschooler, so I don't know if I'm really appropriate to assess the value of all this. Hey Arnold, season 1 from Nickelodeon. This dude's it's like that weird freaking baby from the Family Guy grew
Stewie.
up. Yes, Stewie. Same shaped head. What's up with that?
Here's the thing, Wade, and not to take away from your 12 minutes, but I'm going to.
Go ahead.
There's so much traffic in Los Angeles now when I drive to the office and back home.
Yeah.
That as I drive, I actually stream on Netflix, which I have on my iPhone.
Yeah.
I stream episodes of Family Guy on my iPhone.
Do you really?
Yeah, and I watch it on the way to work.
While you're driving, you're watching Family Guy on
That
your
is
phone.
correct.
That's like dangerous?
That is correct.
Okay.
Well, it's not. You know why it's not dangerous? Because I'm not moving.
Okay. All right. Anyway, hey Arnold, season 1. It's a little creepy, but for the next. All right. Learning letters with Elmo. Yay! Freaking hate Elmo. But this is just a Sesame Street thing where Elmo helps little kids learn their alphabets and what the letters are and all that jazz. I think it scars children more than it helps them, but hey, it's friggin' Elmo. More my speed is Sesame Street Spoofs, Volume 1 and 2. This is actually really cool. This is a Sesame Street disc for people who don't normally like Sesame Street. It's not even for kids, really. This has all the really, really fun, very clever and well-written Sesame Street spoofs. That are almost as the old Bugs Bunny cartoons and the Rocky and Bullwinkle cartoons, in many respects, better for adults than they are for kids. Fun stuff here like 30 Rocks, Preschool Musical, Hill Street Twos, Twin Beaks. I mean, little kids aren't going to understand the joke in Twin Beaks. That's a gag for adults. That's great. So anyway,
but it makes the adults think that this won't be a bunch of pandering kids crap.
It's fun.
It speaks my language, and
it's
then they realize
really
that the show itself is pandering kids crap, but just the title.
There's a wink. There's a wink and a nod to adults
okay.
every once in a while.
I'll buy that.
Shaun the Sheep. This is look. I love the Aardman guys, Nick Park, and all those guys at Aardman Animation in England. But this is really getting a little bit long on the tooth at this point. I just don't know that they can milk the whole Shaun the Sheep thing for much more than they already have. But that said, Shaun the Sheep, Animal Antics, Wild and Hairy Adventures on the Farm. It's okay. It's okay. There's 7 episodes here, and it's fine. No better than anything else. From the world of that friggin' Dora, we watched the, was it Maraca? The SNL Smigel spoof?
Oh, it's fantastic.
It's friggin' great. We watched that again yesterday. That was hilarious. Well, anyway, if you want to actually take this stuff seriously, there's Dora's Big Party Pack, which is 3 previously released things in here. This is Dora's Big Birthday Adventure. It's a party and super silly fiesta. This is basically just taking 3 things that have already sold out and saying, you know what, we've got some stuff left in the factory. We need to somehow get rid of our inventory. So they repackaged it in a box, and now you're supposed to buy it all over again. And from the world of Dora is Go Diego Go, Fiercest Animal Rescues. The only noteworthy thing about this is that it has one episode on it previously unseen. Not that it makes that much difference. They are all kind of the same. Moving along, we've got a couple of anime titles here from Funimation that I think are actually good for kids. A lot of the anime stuff from Funimation is not necessarily that kid-friendly. We'll talk about that another week, but this would be Baka and Test, Summon the Beasts, the complete first season. And you always know stuff. Well, I won't say it's always kid friendly because there is some. What's the name for adult anime? Hentai.
Hentai, yeah. Hentai or whatever.
Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah, I always confuse that with that Korean car company that Jeff Bridges does.
Hyundai.
Yeah.
Why does Jeff Bridges do that? I mean, come on. He's got the money now.
Oh yeah. But it is what it is. Well, anyway, this is almost like a High School Musical / Josie and the Pussycats kind of a thing. So Baka and Test, Summon the Beasts. It's pretty cool, actually. I thoroughly enjoy it. A lot of girl power, a lot of like high school girl power. And then Sergeant Frog. This is season 3, part 1, episodes 52 through 65. The whole Sergeant Frog thing is a little weird and creepy, and just completely from Mars. I've never quite understood what drugs these people were taking when they conceived it. But Keroro is back in action, and there it is. Thundercats. How much time do I have left?
I'm not telling you.
Okay, Thundercats.
You never know when the bomb's going to go off.
I never know. Thundercats, the original series, season 1, part 1. You know what? It's kind of like Cats, the musical, except without music and done like Hanna-Barbera superhero animation. We've talked about that a little bit before. Let's see, Ben 10 Ultimate Alien. Good freaking grief. Return of
enough
Heart Blast.
with the Ben 10.
Jeez,
come on, folks.
I know. This thing just never ends. Okay, it's more Ben 10 stuff. Voltron, The Legend Begins. You ever seen Voltron? You know the deal. He's a big robot.
Well, they're positioning a Voltron motion picture.
I know. Well, this is kind of adapted anime. It's a little like Battle of the Planets and all that other kind of giant robot stuff that we had here pre-Transformers. It's all Voltron pre-Transformers. Got to remember that. Bob the Builder, Super Scrambler. You know what? If you're like 1 year old and you want to see what the hell? It's like a speed buggy with the heavy equipment, heavy machinery. Let's see, Shalom Sesame, the Hebrew version of Sesame Street. Monsters in the Sukkah. What's Sukkah, Mark?
Sukkah is a thing.
Okay, boy, this is volume 11, Shalom Sesame. There we go. What, you claim to be Jewish. What's wrong with you?
I eat pork. How much bacon I eat?
Okay, well, anyway, this is a really good series. I've said before, I think they should have this all over the world in all different cultures because it's just wonderful how they actually adapt it. So we're going to have more on that when holiday time comes around. Clifford the Big Red Dog, Dog Days of Summer. This is from Scholastic, and I don't particularly like Clifford the Big Red Dog. He kind of freaks me out because I don't know any dogs that are actually red. It looks like someone covered him with blood.
Yes, and as for Garfield the cat, how many cats do you know who love lasagna and kick dogs off tables?
I don't know, 2 or 3.
And hate Mondays or something.
Friggin' weird stuff here. This is from the Leapfrog series, Sing and Learn. Normally, the Leapfrog series is pretty good for teaching those ignorant preschoolers how to actually function in the real world. But the animation in this thing is just friggin' weird. These things are psychotic. It's like Teletubbies in Acid Land or something. The Smurfs, A Magical Smurf Adventure. This is 2 discs of 10 episodes meant to exploit the fact that there's a Smurfs movie that's doing surprisingly well in theaters. Other than that, I hate Smurfs. Barney. Oh, gosh, we hate Barney. This is 1, 2, 3, Learn. Can't stand Barney. It's this scary stuff. He's a purple dinosaur with all kinds of serious mental issues and not sharp teeth. Thomas in Charge, Thomas and Friends.
Charles in Charge?
No, it's that train, Thomas and Friends. If it ain't a dinosaur, it's a train. The animation here is weird, but it actually is kind of fun in a very innocuous way. I know I'm running out of time, so I got to move down here to the Judy Jetson thing. But first, Fanboy and Chum Chum, Brain Freeze. Oh my gosh, these things are disturbing.
What is that?
It's just deeply disturbing animation that from Nickelodeon, and I it's like Ren and Stimpy done superhero style. Like take Ren and Stimpy, turn them into CGI animated things, make them human, give them masks, and have them solve crimes and deeply scar children as a result. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the complete season 9 with a lenticular cover on this thing. I think they're throwing this out there because aren't they preparing a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie?
Darn tootin'.
Yeah, see, it's all about cross promotion. And then here, this is fabulous. Hanna-Barbera Classic Collection, Rockin' with Judy Jetson. This is a feature-length film, believe it or not, that done completely independent of the Jetson series that's really actually pretty good. I find this thoroughly enjoyable. I'm out of time?
You're out of time, Wade.
Oh, crap. Okay. Well, anyway, check this out, definitely. The full-length feature, Rockin' with Judy Jetson, is surprisingly fun. And the last one, of course, was Yo Gabba Gabba, Music Makes Me Move, but I'm not going to get around to that.
Because your 12 minutes are up.
Because my 12 minutes are up. But
now we have to talk about stuff people care about.
Okay. Wow. Can't believe we blew through that. That was amazing.
Yeah, people learned a lot about those products. They really learned a lot, Wade.
Mark, we talk about every time a new season comes out, we discuss the merits and the deficits of this fascinating but deeply disturbing show. about a serial killer, which I don't think 10, 20, 30 years ago anybody would possibly have thought to do.
See, that's why for some reason, you have this thing in your head where, like, Magnum P.I. is, like, the edgiest show ever because there was an episode where he shot a Vietnam vet. I mean, honestly.
He shot a Russian.
Whatever. Compared to Dexter Season 5, and not that I'm a fan of Dexter, I'm just saying, compared to Dexter Season 5, but here's the thing, too, which people do have to understand.
Yes.
Dexter, Sopranos, these are all pay cable shows.
Correct, yes.
You know, Magnum P.I., these are
CBS.
CBS, these are network shows.
Yeah.
The networks have FCC licenses, and they have to. There's a certain amount of decorum because they're free television.
Right.
Dexter doesn't really deal with that. So anyway, season 5 of Dexter, it premiered in September 2010, and people love it.
You know what I like about. Here's the one thing about this season in particular of Dexter. Julia Stiles is awfully good on this show.
Yeah, you know
really
what? That's
is.
That's a good get. I saw her on Broadway. You know.
Did you really?
In the day, it was Bill Pullman.
Yeah.
And Julia Stiles in the Mammoth play, the one where the teacher and the student get into a sexual harassment thing. I forgot the name of it, but they were both very good.
Yeah. What is that? Well, anyway,
that
thing.
Now you're making me look it up.
Well. Anyway, that's the thing. She's really kind of come of age on this show. This season, she is particularly good in. And
Oleana.
Thank you, Oleana. No, she's particularly good in it, and the show still kind of creeps. I'm still trying to decide. I know a lot of people love this show. It's still, it means to push buttons a lot like Nip Tuck did, even though Nip Tuck not a pay cable show. But they're all kind of going for certain button pushing things. Dexter really pushes them. I'm still kind of jury's out in many respects in the show, but she is great. And it's interesting because I thought her career was done at a certain moment, at least her feature film career. Mm-hmm. But I think how good she is on this show, she may have a whole new shot at doing features in some kind of new, not as a leading lady, not as an ingenue, but I think there's some... I think there is a whole new avenue she may want to explore at some point.
Well, I feel the same way about her that I feel about... I'm just old.
That's okay.
And I need glasses.
Yeah, well.
I feel the same way about her that I feel about, come on, Claire Danes.
Oh, yeah, no,
I love Claire Danes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know what? It never really took off. I mean, it did for a blip, but I just think she's great. And by the way, part of the reason why Dexter Season 5 is notable is because of some of the directors. John Dahl directs.
I know.
And you know who else does? Ernest Dickerson.
Yeah.
Spike Lee's longtime cinematographer, Do the Right Thing.
Who did a number of good films on his own as a director, and I mean those are good directorial gets for sure.
So how does Dexter Season 5 hold up against Webster Season 3?
It's not quite as edgy. Because in Webster Season 3, I think there's actually an episode where Webster murders his family. I think they just decided to kind of take it in a new direction, and they wanted to try something.
This
Wouldn't
movie,
that have been great. Imagine you tuned in to watch this sweet little kid, and he walks in, and what was the guy's name? Alex Karras. And Alex Karras says, "Hey, Webster, how are you this morning?" Webster turns around and just whips out a butcher knife and just slashes Alex Karras' guts out, and right there, primetime family hour.
Now here's the thing.
Awesome.
This certainly slashes me apart. I didn't realize that Alex Karras and Susan Clark, who were the parents on the show, that they were really married.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Created by Stu Silver and co-starring real-life husband and wife Alex Karras and Susan Clark. I did not know that.
Yeah.
That is wild, wacky stuff.
Yes, it is.
Webster was terrible.
But here's the thing about Webster. Well, you know what? I mean, look, it was the whole idea here was that if Gary Coleman is cute on his show where we've got a single white man adopting two black kids, let's do a show about a complete white family that adopts an even cuter little black kid. I mean, the whole idea of Webster was to outstroke different strokes. That was the whole point. That's all we have to say about it. We got a BBC production here, Outcasts.
You love your BBC.
You know what? Outcasts is actually really good. I mean, there's a certain BBC style that you get with a lot of these things, and I don't know. I like it. It's not. It's professional. It's cinematic. It has the same kind of look and vibe as you get on a lot of cable and pay cable stuff, but somehow, they got their own thing on BBC, especially when they do science fiction. And this is the kind of thing that it's like as intelligent as I would hope things to be on sci-fi. but most of them never are. Sci-fi always goes for the fanboy, and this stuff always kind of goes in an intelligent direction, which may be kind of the fruits of Doctor Who. I don't know if that's it. All the British sci-fi stuff is just more of a thinking man's person. Maybe it's Doctor Who and Jerry Anderson, but the whole history of sci-fi and British television is very intellectual, very sophisticated, and
Is Doctor Who really that sophisticated?
It can be, especially the new series. Anyway, the drill here is that there is basically a post-apocalyptic scenario, and there's a chance to move humanity away from a decimated Earth and onto a new world called Carpathia, and there's also there are similarities to a lot of other post-apocalyptic movies and TV shows that we've seen. Probably, I don't know, Arc 2? No, I'm not going to compare to Arc. Arc 2 was a cool show, though.
Oh, my God, Arc 2?
Can you believe that reference I just pulled out of my unit? That was good, huh? That was good, right?
Your rear unit?
Yeah. I just
Not the frontal unit.
No, I just yanked one right out of my unit. A little reference to Arc 2 with the talking monkey and the jetpack. Yeah, and the big the big RV roaming around a post-apocalyptic planet.
My God.
Pretty cool. Anyway, check it out. Outcasts. It's a very smartly written, well-produced show. Triplet. 3 titles here for HBO Latin America originals. I'm just going to make a quick mention of because I don't know how many people here even are aware that these exist. But we have Alice Primero Temporada. I don't speak Spanish, as you can tell. Mandrake. Otra forma de ver la justicia, and Epitafios. These are all productions for HBO Latin America, and I really don't thoroughly understand what goes on in any of them. But if you are out there looking for some kind of high quality Spanish-speaking productions, HBO style, there they are.
There they be.
I thought that there might be, kind of something, accessible on them, something English-speaking, but there isn't. They're just straight-up Spanish audience stuff.
You know what? The Hispanic market is huge.
It's enormous.
It's a huge untapped market.
I don't know why they sent me the press releases on them. I was like, well, that's interesting.
Because they know that the Digigods, by the way, at gods@digigods.com.
That's it.
They know that we will talk about anything.
We absolutely will. Send it to us. We'll talk about it.
We'll even talk about the Kennedys.
How many miniseries have there been on this damn family?
Exactly.
Seriously,
well, this particular miniseries really is controversial and is coming back into the news not only because of the DVD set. I don't know if you know the story, Wade, but the Kennedy stars Greg Kinnear as Jack Kennedy.
Your buddy.
And
did you ever, honestly, when you were working with Greg, did you ever imagine that he would ever play Jack Kennedy in a miniseries?
I didn't. I could imagine him doing it. I can imagine him cracking me up with his impersonation of Jack Kennedy.
Yeah, there you go.
Because Greg literally was the funniest person I'd ever met. I mean,
Yeah.
Greg just would always make me laugh.
That's great.
And I worked with him for a good probably 3-4 years. Anyway, so he stars in this show that was a miniseries done for the History Channel, but the History Channel dropped it for reasons that nobody ever really knows, but they said it was not appropriate for the History Channel brand. So it was then dropped by the History Channel and picked up by the Reels Channel. And Reels Channel, they just really picked it up just for the publicity involved. I mean, the Reels Channel is really just a third-rate nothing network, but they figured no one else wants this toxic miniseries about John F. Kennedy and all the scandals and whatnot with Katie Holmes as Jack Yeo, that they picked it up and aired it, and they have now released it on DVD. And you realize the brand new controversy about this.
No, what is it?
So there is supposedly a bunch of secret audio tapes that Jackie Kennedy made with Arthur Schlesinger Jr.
Oh, I heard about this. This is stuff that Caroline just decided to release, where she talks about having affairs to get revenge on. Oh my gosh!
The rumor is that was the barter, where if the if this miniseries is buried, the reward is
we release these tapes.
Well, because Jackie didn't want those tapes released until 50 years after her death.
Right.
And it's been whatever it's been, I don't know, 10 years or 19 years or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That the barter was that I will let you have these tapes if you bury this miniseries. That's the rumor.
Wow.
Isn't that strange?
That's wild. Wow.
Is the miniseries any good? Well, the problem is nowadays it really just depends on your political point of view, which is a shame. The miniseries was directed by Joel Surnow, who is and directed by John Caesar. These are guys from 24. They're considered to be conservatives, and they were doing a miniseries on
about a liberal president,
liberal icon.
Yeah,
and so. People came out and said it was a rip job on the Kennedys, and of course, Surnow is saying, "Oh, it's the greatest Kennedy thing. That's the most accurate thing ever." And it's like nowadays you can't even make a documentary.
I know.
You cannot make a political documentary unless somebody thinks that they're slighted.
Yeah.
You can make a Reagan. There was a Reagan documentary
with James Brolin.
Where all the liberals said it's a big lie, and all the conservatives said it's the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
Now you get the Kennedys. It's a lie. Come on.
Wow.
Disaster. Kennedy's a fascinating disaster.
The Glades, the complete first season. Now that would be only 13 episodes here because it's not a complete first season. Well, it's not a full first season. It's a complete season because it was only part of the season, kind of a mid-season replacement. The Glades is a 20th Century Fox produced show that does what all of these detective shows always do. You have to do only one of two things to make a cop show work anymore, a detective show. You either have to find an exotic backdrop like Hawaii or, like CSI Miami or whatever the case is. Find an exotic backdrop or at least a different backdrop that people aren't necessarily familiar with. Or you have to find some weird fringe section of crime fighting like, Special Victims Unit or CSI or, the medical examiner's office. And will somehow come at crime from a different angle. And the Glades is one of the former. It's Matt Passmore, who I'd never heard of before, but he's not bad. He's a good guy, real bohunky guy, but a decent actor. He's basically a Chicago cop who thinks he's going to have a nice, cushy life in Florida and winds up finding that, wow, crime is kind of a different deal in the Glades.
Oh, my God. Stop.
You like that, don't you?
You know what?
It's okay.
It's a little bit like in reality television now. They're all trying to find different areas of the country to exploit.
Yeah.
Like first it was Jersey.
Yeah.
Now it's Texas.
Exactly.
There's a couple shows on Texas now.
Yeah.
There's a couple reality shows, obviously Jersey we know about.
Totally.
It's like that.
Yeah.
And also the same thing with reality with like the low rent reality television, where like
Right.
TLC will do shows about guys who go through trash. Honestly.
I know. No, it's anything that they can actually somehow.
Storage wars. These are guys who go through storage units. Really?
Heaven help us.
Exactly.
The complete season 16 of Top Gear. This show it is always amazing. I just salute the British. I salute BBC for doing this for so long and making it so much unbelievably fun. I love this. This is absolutely terrific. And, hey, they have a 3-part road trip through the U.S. on this thing, which is just terrific. Absolutely terrific. The thing about this show is not only do you learn a lot about great cars, at least incredibly powerful, cool cars, and these cars are cool. Like the Ariel Atom V8 is just a dream, man. That is an unbelievably sweet car. But they just make it fun, and it's crazy, and it's just the most irreverent show. And what always great guests, unbelievably cool. Celebrities in a reasonably priced car is just hysterically funny. Great guests on this one, including Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. You just won't believe how much fun this show is. And at one point, they even go through the Middle East, which, hot cars, fast cars in the Middle East. Yeah. I could do that. A lot of wide open roads to drive.
It is a cool show. And what else is a cool show is the United States of Tara. This is the 3rd season on DVD. This is the show that was created by Diablo Cody and based on an idea by Steven Spielberg, I guess. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows how these things actually come together?
I am just thrilled that this has sort of given a career jumpstart to
Toni Collette?
Toni Collette.
Oh, yeah. It is wild. Although, it's not being it was not renewed for a 4th season, so this is it. This 3rd season DVD is it.
Well,
in fact, the series finale aired in June.
So
the series finale, the whole thing, it's gone.
It's done.
So this is pretty much all there is. Toni Collette won a I think she won a Clio or maybe an MTV award. Or
I think she won an Emmy.
I think it was a Tony, actually,
Yeah.
is what she won. Might have been an Oscar.
Okay, something like that. Yeah.
Some award that they give for excellence in television.
Okay.
I think they might call it a Moon Man.
Okay. Wonderful.
All right, whatever. She won an
That's
Emmy. It's a good show, and it's a good show because of her, and it's got a decent supporting. It's got an okay supporting cast, actually. John Corbett's the only kind of name guy on the cast, but it's good stuff. It had a very short but respectable run.
We're going to talk about some foreign titles here. This is an interesting trio of films. This is from Icarus Home Video. Icarus always does. Icarus is one of those companies like Facets that'll occasionally really come out. Not a lot of titles, but they'll come out with stuff that's really significant and interesting and culturally and artistically worth. Meritorious. Let's call it meritorious. The stuff there are two kind of minor works on here. Mark is making an absolute disaster.
Well, because I'm looking at this stuff that we're not talking about. It's like, wait, why are we not talking about this?
Well,
and
because
this?
this is. I know we'll get to it. I know. It's all about suspense, right?
No, because no one knows that they're being asked to wait for something good. We just don't tell them. We have some good stuff coming up in about 3 seconds when Wade stops talking about this crap.
We got stuff coming up in about 2 seconds when I get to this. These three interesting films include Sergei Dvortsevoy's In the Dark, Marina Goldsvakaya's Three Songs About the Motherland. I know Mark's thinking, what on earth is he talking about?
He just yawned.
And then the last one is Chris Marker's One Day in the Life of Andrei Arsenovich. Basically, these are three films that are about what Russia was, what Soviet Russia was, and as it is a really great combination of three films that give you a completely different perspective, three different angles, three different filmmaker points of view on what Russia represents and represented. In all kinds of facets in the world. And if you didn't grow up during the Cold War like we did, I don't think you fully understand, just what that era was like. I mean, for the first 2/3 of my life, it would, the Cold War defined the world in every way, political and social and cultural and artistic. It was just, that was the tension. And the world changed, once 1989, 1990 came around and all that switched. But Chris Marker's One Day in the Life of Andrei Arsenovich is an amazing film. And it's particularly amazing because Chris Marker is such a weird, enigmatic, hermit-type guy. I mean, he makes, Terrence Malick and Kubrick look like extrovert A-personalities. He really is. And, nobody really has any access to Chris Marker. He even makes Godard look like some kind of a, exhibitionist. This is a tribute to Andrei Tarkovsky, the great Soviet director, the great Russian director who, of course, became an expat, went to Sweden, made a lot of great films. We talked about The Sacrifice a couple of weeks ago, which is now on Blu-ray from Kino. Really, one of the great directors of all time, Solaris being the film that everybody always kind of emphasizes and looks at, but other films like Stalker, amazing stuff. Anyway, he was a good friend of Chris Marker's, and so this is very much a personal film. And a pretty emotionally intense film as well, because Tarkovsky died of cancer very prematurely. He only made a handful of films and then died in 1986. Never ever got to it. So there's a lot of very, very cool personal stuff here, and I found it very, very touching. It'll make you want to see more Chris Marker films and more Tarkovsky films. And then the other foreign title we have this week, which we just cannot let go, finish the show without talking about this, is the Blu-ray Criterion release of The Battle of Algiers, and this is so long overdue. Battle of Algiers is a classic 1966 film, a legendary film that changed so many things in cinema, directed by Gio Pontecorvo, the Italian director who has been running the Venice Film Festival for many, many, many years. And this is just a staggering film. If you aren't familiar with it, it is a cinema verite look at the dramatic recreation of the key battle year in the French-Algerian War, and it's just stunning. It is gripping. It is grueling. It is an amazing film, and it has influenced so many films since, including stuff like The Killing Fields. If there had never been a Battle of Algiers, there would be no Killing Fields. There would probably not even be stuff like
Saving Private Ryan.
Saving Private Ryan. Yeah, I mean, it's a magnificent film. Lots of stuff on the second disc. First disc and the second disc are loaded with extras, but the second disc has this thing called Remembering History, which is one of the best documentaries I've ever seen on the Algerian War for Independence ever. I mean, so you're almost like getting 2 for 1. Another documentary excerpt called État d'Armes, which is just a gut-wrenching. It reveals a lot of the things a lot of the tactics and the techniques that were used by French officials to basically terrorize and torture the Algerians. Just horrible. I mean, this is such a difficult war for the French to even deal with today. So much stuff in here. You learn about history. You learn about the film. It's film school in a box, which is what Criterion always brags about. And this is like a must-own. You got to go out and grab this. Got to get it.
Got to get it.
Got to get it. All right, Mark. Let's go into. Let's get into the
Come
regular.
on.
Come on. I know, right?
The Blu-ray of Big Lebowski.
I know, right?
I know, right?
I know, right?
Really?
Hey, let me tell you something. You don't mess with the Jesus, man.
You know, normally I would beg you for this, but here's the reason I'm not going to.
Yeah.
A, you're not going to give it to me.
No.
And also, I have a Big Lebowski DVD gift collector's thing that has like a little bowling ball.
Oh, it's that.
Like
that's
the DVD
right.
is actually right beneath,
Yes.
right above the DVD itself is a little tiny plastic bowling ball. So I want to keep that.
Same extras.
Is that right?
All the same extras. Yeah, yeah. No, nothing new here. There wasn't on that one. But
here in Los Angeles,
Blu-ray. So we finally get the Lebowski on Blu-ray.
You know, here in Los Angeles, it was kind of a little blip of a story.
I do not roll on Shabbat.
It's the best.
Yeah.
The home that Lebowski lived in.
Yeah.
In the movie.
Yes.
You know, his little home. You know, where like the carpet was tying the whole room together.
Yeah.
That place is for sale.
Wow.
Like now.
Wow.
And when it went on sale, I mean, it's a house that some guy owns, and now he's selling the house.
So the one where he gets basically home invasion attacked by the
Yes.
nihilists. We are nihilists.
Yes, and the carpet that ties the
Yeah.
room together.
Yeah.
It's for sale. So actually, it was funny because
where they peed on his rug.
they put it on his rug because they tie the room together. But the thing is that it was. Is that when it went on sale? It's on sale and it's being billed as the Big Lebowski house.
Fine,
And
good.
there was an open house, just like any
Yeah.
house for sale is an open house. And they were trying to get I don't know that he did, but they were trying to get Jeff Bridges to appear at the open house.
That's pretty great. You just forget who all's in this movie. Steve Buscemi's in this movie. Julianne Moore is in this movie. What a great movie.
And Tara Reid. Exactly.
What a great movie. Philip Seymour Hoffman's in this freaking movie.
Is the best.
You know, it really is just absolutely fantastic. Just cannot get enough of this movie. Do it. Rock on. It's there it is. It's out, a limited edition Blu-ray book. They don't call it a Blu-ray book. That's the Warner Brothers title for these things. But this is Universal is doing them too. Everybody's doing them. It's a digipack with a little booklet kind of sewn into the middle of it. It's just terrific. Absolutely terrific.
And it looks great.
Looks fabulous. A couple of Muppet films on Blu-ray as well.
Yeah,
in Blu-ray
new
DVD.
Muppet movies coming out,
Yeah.
Wade.
That was my Fozzie just momentarily. This is a Blu-ray DVD combo pack. Both of these, there are better Muppet movies out there, but The Muppets Take Manhattan is one of the better ones. I mean, this is a lot of fun. And I still love the Muppet movie the best, but you know what? This really had... Part of the joy of the Muppet movies is, especially the really good ones, is just the cavalcade of celebrities that just march through them.
Yeah, but back then it was like Dom DeLuise or whatever.
Yeah, and it's like...
Now it's Seth Rogen.
True, but The Muppets Take Manhattan has such a great... It's probably the second best cast to the original Muppet movie itself. It's maybe not the second best film. It's maybe in the top 3, maybe top 4. But, I mean, come on. Art Carney, James Coco, Dabney Coleman.
James Coco.
Joan Rivers. I mean, it's just a lot of fun. It's an awful lot of fun. And we forget, who directed The Muppets Take Manhattan?
Oh, it was Terrence Malick.
Frank Oz.
Yeah.
Frank Oz. He needs to direct more. I love that guy. I love his movies. Death at a Funeral, man. That was the last thing he really knocked out of the park, and I wanted to do more like that.
He really knocked that out of the park?
I thought so. I thought that was terrific.
You
really
crazy.
did. Loved it. Tim Hill, not quite the director that Frank Oz is, and accordingly, Muppets from Space, not quite the same movie. A little bit kind of, off the wall, like they're stretching to find something to do. But, both of these look terrific on Blu-ray. They're not amazing transfers. Sony kind of pulled back a little bit on these. I think they figured, you know what, we don't really need to win the cinephiles over, don't need to win the bluophiles over, but we'll make it look decent, and they did. It's not they didn't phone it in, but you know, they did a decent job.
They Skyped it in.
They did a decent job.
No, now wait, I didn't realize that there's a full trailer for the new Muppet movie. Did you know that?
Oh, really? Is there?
Yeah. In fact, when the show is done, I'm going to call it up on YouTube. I didn't realize that.
Wow.
Like there's a full trailer.
Bravo.
Can't wait to check it out.
You know, I want to just give a quick mention to this film, The Bang Bang Club. Did you see this, Mark? By chance?
I did not.
You know, this is based on actually a true story, which is kind of centered around apartheid. And I know you think, wow, that's a little late to be, you know, kind of trying to make those stories still work, because we had a ton of apartheid films in just a few years after it ended, and you know there was things like Cry Freedom, and you know they sort of got it out of their system, and you know World Apart with Barbara Hershey, and really do we have to go back to that? Yeah, I think so a little bit. I mean, this is about 4 photographers, and it tries to be one of those really gritty photojournalist films that is just, you know, on the cutting edge of where they are in the middle of history, but it feels a little bit forced. It's not all that it can be, if we want to kind of put it in marine terms. But that being said, there's some decent performances here. Malin Ackerman, not my favorite actress, but I thought she was pretty good. Here's the reason I'm really going to talk about this, is because Ryan Felipe, not my favorite actor, kind of wooden. Loved him in Crash. I've liked him in a few things. I think he's occasionally decent, you know. But did you know that when Ryan Felipe orders burgers and people ask for his name, he says his name is Steve?
That's great.
Aren't you going to ask me how I know that?
How do you know that?
I was at Carney's like a month ago. You know, Carney's, the train car. Anyone doesn't know this.
They sell hot dogs and chili dogs and burgers.
There's a fast food joint in Los Angeles. There's 2 of them. Only 2 of them, and it's called Carney's. And there's one in the San Fernando Valley, and there's one on the Sunset Strip. And it's basically, you know, a bunch of train cars stuck together, and you walk up into the train, and it's, you know, it's like they serve. There's the chef, and they cook it back behind the counter, and then you sit there like you're on a train, and you watch people drive by on Sunset or on Ventura Boulevard, whichever it is. And so I go there. I'm on my way home from a screening somewhere at the ArcLight, I think it was, and I figure I'll grab myself a Carney's. You know, I'm in the neighborhood. I'm zipping down Sunset, go into Carney's, standing in line. And I look up, and honest to goodness, I see this head in front of me, and then the head turns, and there's the profile of Ryan Felipe standing right in front of me. And I'm like, well, all right. Ryan's got good taste in burgers, and they get up. You know, you give your order, and your name, Steve. And I thought to myself, really? Like, if you were to say Ryan, that would somehow blow your cover because there are just so few Ryans in Los Angeles. Like, honestly, dude, don't be that incognito. That's just stupid.
Well, here's the thing, though.
That's just stupid.
But there might be another reason he did that.
Yeah, okay.
He might have such an ego that he probably thought, this guy doesn't know my name. I'm Ryan Felipe. I starred in an Oscar-winning Best Picture. He doesn't know my name. My name is Steve. That could have been the reason. It could have been a total ego play. You're rethinking it now, aren't you?
Yeah, no, I still think it's ridiculous. I think it's absolutely insanely absurd. All right, Mark, tell us about a bad movie.
Meet Monica Valor.
Is that a bad movie?
You know, it is a bad movie, but you know what? It really actually tried to be okay. It's a movie. It's Kim Cattrall plays a woman who's a porn star in the 80s, and she strikes up a friendship with this young kid who, of course, loves nothing but porn. But now he's meeting this porn star when she's older, and she's kind of struggling to make it, and she's a single mom. And, you know, it's flawed. It's a little contrived, but it's kind of not terrible. Kim Cattrall is terrific in it. She's showing that she can actually act, and you gotta applaud the deglamming of herself. So you know what? It's not. I mean, it's a total rental.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like a major motion picture. But there's an audio commentary with the director Keith Bearden and with Kim Cattrall. So it shows that Cattrall is interested enough to come in and do the audio commentary.
That's nice.
Unless, of course, she was contractually obligated to.
And it's on both Blu-ray and DVD?
It's on DV-Ray and Blu-D.
Okay. Beautiful. Monarch has come out. Monarch is a smaller company that releases stuff that very often I think, okay, fine, that belongs on, straight to video. That's a nice little sweet family title. I mean, it's very, Monarch will not release something like the Human Centipede. You won't get that from Monarch. They have a very family friendly profile, and every once in a while, it'll be something where I think, well, that should have been in theaters. This is a movie called Lou. And I don't know why this didn't get even some little tiny limited theatrical run. It really should have. Written and directed by a woman named Belinda Chaco, and I hope she gets more shots at writing and directing because you know what, it really is a sweet film. This is just one of those stories about a girl and her grandfather, and it's we've seen this kind of a story a lot, where there's some kind of a tragedy that happens or someone is abandoned or whatever, and suddenly you have an adult figure and a child figure who are thrown together, and each one somehow doesn't really want to be with the other one, and they eventually learn to love each other. I get it. And it's kind of a common scenario. But that being said, the grandfather here, for crying out loud, is John Hurt. And John Hurt rules. John Hurt is an amazing actor. He is an absolutely brilliant actor. And Emily Barclay is an absolutely wonderful actress. This is just, and then Lily Bell Tindley is terrific. This is a really good cast, and I hope people check this out. I hope they find it. It's a very sweet film. It is a movie that should have been released in theaters, should have had some kind of a theatrical life, did not. I think that's a shame.
You do?
I do.
A crying shame?
What else we got, Mark?
Oh, we have the Blu-ray of Priest, which is a totally terrible little creature feature from earlier this year. Directed by some guy named Scott Charles Stewart, stars Paul Bettany as he's a priest, and
he's just been doing a lot of crap lately. He's a better actor than that.
You know what? It's weird. I don't know.
Didn't he already play an albino priest in the Da Vinci Code? Or
he did. He played an albino,
and he's playing
like
another
a self-flagellating albino.
Oh, great! Now he's another freaky priest.
I just don't get it. You know what? Maybe they
typecasting.
Well, but it's unnecessary. I mean, why this guy? He was married to Jennifer. Was he married to Jennifer? Connelly? Still is.
Yeah, they got kids.
I mean, he gets to have sex with Jennifer Connelly. I mean, shouldn't that be enough to make you happy? Why do you got to go do stuff like this?
You'd think.
Anyway, the movie sucks, but it looks good on Blu-ray because the effects, which are kind of average actually, kind of pop on the Blu-ray. But ultimately, who cares? Because the movie's big and loud and stupid. But at least it's short.
Man,
which is the most important thing.
All right. Well, there we go. Queen to Play is a movie that was released briefly theatrically. It's out from Zeitgeist DVD, and you know what? I think this should have had maybe a little better theatrical life than it had, but Zeitgeist is not. Let's face it, they're one of the theatrical distributors that survived, and all the studios killed off their divisions, and so we have a few that have just kind of hung in there, like Zeitgeist and Strand, and they didn't overexpand, and they're still around, and the result is that they're kind of picking up what remains in the independent marketplace, and they're getting it oftentimes for pennies, but they don't have the means to give these things really muscular releases. So the result is that if you want to see Queen to Play and you missed it in theaters, if it didn't reach a theater near you, then you got to reach out and grab it on DVD. Queen to Play has a terrific cast, absolutely terrific cast. Kevin Kline in one of his best recent performances, and the wonderful French actress Sandrine Bonnaire, who hasn't been on screen in a while, and it just blows my mind that this woman gets better and more beautiful with every passing year. It was, I kid you not, it was 1986. It was 25 years ago. 25 years ago that I was in France, living in France, and Sandrine Bonnaire picked up Best Actress for Vagabond, which in French was titled Sans Toi ni Loi. But you remember Vagabond?
Yeah.
It was the same year that Christophe Lambert won Best Actor for Metro, the Luc Besson film. That was 25 years ago. Okay, so I'm doing the math, and I'm like, oh, okay, she's 25. It's like this way. She's at least my age, if not older, and she still looks like she's 30. I swear it's unbelievable. I don't know what she does. It must just be the French genes or facial creams or something. I don't know. Maybe it's butter. But this is a really nice film. It's a very sweet film. It takes place on Corsica. Makes Corsica look beautiful and pastoral, despite the fact that it's mostly populated by a lot of knife-wielding, borderline psychopathic pirates. But you know what? Corsica's otherwise, in terms of just the pastoral beauty, it's a wonderful backdrop for any movie. And let's just say it's a backdrop in this case for chess, and it makes chess absolutely sexy. And Kevin Kline plays a doctor here, speaks French. This is a French language film. I don't want anybody to necessarily get, deluded and think this is all entirely in English. It's not. It's Kevin Kline speaking French. But you know what? This is just a terrific film, and you got to check it out. Caroline Botaro is the director. I'm unfamiliar with her work, but I'm sure as hell going to pay attention to her in the future. And then the last of our featurey films is Jane Eyre, which stars Mia Wasikowska as Jane Eyre. Totally unconventional casting. I never would have expected to see her show up in a role like this, but she's really good. And then as Rochester, the incredibly chameleon-like Michael Fassbender, who showed up as the young Magneto in X-Men First Class, not to mention things like Hunger and what the hell else has he been in?
Oh, he's super cool.
He's just great. He's a great actor. Even though, you know what else he was in? He was in Centurion, which stunk. That was a really sucky movie, but he was decent in it. No, he is like the next generation of great British actors. He's just unbelievable. This guy is phenomenal. I mean, look, it's friggin' Jane Eyre. If you don't know the story, then just read the damn book. But I would say, is it as good as the Robert Stevenson directed black and white film with Orson Welles and Joan Fontaine?
Let me guess. Your answer will be no.
No, that's still the quintessential. Look, how do you outdo Orson Welles as Rochester? You just don't.
That's true.
He's Orson freaking Welles. But that being said, I think this is better than than any of the other versions for television or for the movies, other than that original one. I think this is better than the Franco Zeffirelli film by a mile, and I actually quite like that one, even though I don't think John Hurt is a very good Rochester. But
John Hurt?
Not John Hurt. William Hurt. William Hurt.
No,
was
yeah,
Rochester.
William Hurt. No.
Yeah, William Hurt was Rochester, and then Charlotte Gainsbourg was a decent Jane Eyre. But really, I think the casting here is terrific.
It is weird to be like William Hurt is an actor who never gave off much heat, which is really weird because he starred in Body Heat.
Yeah,
which is like he's not the smoldering.
I don't know.
Sexual.
Well, anyway,
tiger.
And this is directed by Cary Fukunaga, who is really a pretty great director. I'm really eager to see what he does next. And, a lot of great supporting performances here. Judi Dench. Definitely check this out. It's Jamie Bell shows up in an interesting part that doesn't really show up in any of the other books, or any of the other movies, by the way. It's out of the book. This is a little more faithful to the book. I would say definitely get the Blu-ray. It's not that much better than the DVD in many respects, but it's pretty sweet. It's a nicely photographed film.
Interesting, Wade.
All right, Mark, where do we go next here?
I don't know. How much longer do we have?
We've got about 8 more minutes. Let's see here. Oh gosh, let's talk just briefly about a release here from Olive Films. Olive, has this output deal where they do Paramount stuff that Paramount doesn't want to deal with, and this is an interesting cult film that I'm sure Paramount just looked at this and they just thought, we don't know what the hell to do with this. We don't even know how to market this. This is one of those weird B movies that a lot of studios tried to use to compete with the drive-in crowd back in the 1950s when they realized at a certain point that kids were going to a lot of these weird movies about aliens and creepy things. And some of the studios tried to compete with it kind of half-heartedly, and they didn't really get into it until the late 60s. But The Colossus of New York, directed by Eugène Laurier, is an interesting and kind of famous entry in that category. The only recognizable name here that most people probably won't even recognize, but if you're about my age or Mark's age, you'll know Ross Martin from The Wild Wild West and briefly from the later seasons of Hawaii Five-0. Great actor, terrific actor. He's in this. You know what? Basically a Frankenstein movie is what this is. It's and this incredibly brilliant scientist dies, and then his dad and his brother take his brain and they drop it into a robot. It's yet another one of those cautionary tales about the what modern science will do when allowed to run amok without kind of moral constraints. You get a lot of these kinds of films in the 1950s. There are a lot of these, like The Brain That Wouldn't Die, and they saved Hitler's brain, and all these things. They're kind of all based on the same scenario. But The Colossus of New York is one of the more curious ones, and it's worth a look. I don't know if it's worth buying, but it's certainly a decent rental.
Hi, Wade.
Yes, Mark. What do we got?
You know what? I love Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Oh, jeez,
but
more?
I can't take it anymore. It really is. They're shoving it down my throat now. Literally, it's becoming aversion therapy. Like the best way to get me to hate Mystery Science Theater 3000 is to make me watch another 6 releases every goddamn week.
They are kind of starting to overdo it a bit, aren't they?
This week, the thing is that the volume sets were 4 movies in one set.
Yeah.
Now they're back to releasing single movies on single sets, and they better be cheap because it's not worth it. One is The Unearthly, which is cute. It's a 1975 horror film, and the only reason I like it is because it has a really funny short. Posture Pals actually has 2, and Appreciating Our Parents. Appreciating Our Parents is hilarious. Very 50s. The other one is a movie called Red Zone Cuba, and Red Zone Cuba is from 1966, and it somehow manages to work in The Bay of Pigs and Escaped Convicts, which is nice. And it also has a short, 1949 short, Speech, Platform, Posture, and Appearances. So
cool.
I love the shorts. I really am starting to gorge out on these films. So maybe if you know those 2 specifically, you'd want to pick it up. Otherwise, there's plenty of other Mystery Science that you have not seen. I guarantee it.
Let's just wrap up this whole schlocky thing. There are a couple of docs that we should make mention of, but to kind of transition from schlock to docs, make mention of American Grindhouse. This was, I have a particular fondness for this, obviously because as many of you who are longtime listeners know, I produced a documentary called Schlock, The Secret History of American Movies, about 10 years ago, very nicely written and directed by our good friend and colleague Ray Green, former editor-in-chief of Box Office. Ray and I spent about 2 years making that. So it's all about exploitation film, treated very seriously in a scholarly fashion, recognizing its historical importance. And this does not necessarily compete with us. We always like to push these films because they do call attention to, I think, an overlooked and underappreciated aspect of American cinema, which a lot of people like to make fun of. And, even thanks to Tarantino, a lot of people pay more attention to it, but they still don't quite take it that seriously. American Grindhouse does not focus specifically on the 50s and 60s, which our film did. But it covers kind of the whole era. It even goes into the 70s, which is a bit of a transition. Talks not just about nudie cuties, but about blaxploitation, the whole kind of exploitation bag. It's very short, 82 minutes, and so as a result, I think it somewhat shortchanges some of its subjects, but it gets a lot of great interviews. A lot of people that we interviewed have passed away, like Doris Wishman and Sam Markoff, but they get a lot of good people here too. Herschel Gordon Lewis, who we didn't get, Joe Dante, Larry Cohen, Fred Williamson. It's a very decent film. And then lastly, a couple of docs here that we should really give a quick but highlight mention to. Hey Boo, Harper Lee and To Kill a Mockingbird from First Run Features is a wonderful appreciation of Harper Lee, a very underappreciated and misunderstood author, I think, in many respects, but it'll help you appreciate her and To Kill a Mockingbird a lot more. It really puts you inside her life and her mind, and really, it gives so much more texture and depth to both the book and the movie. And then lastly, forget the film, watch the titles. This is really pretty cool. This is 9 short documentaries about title designers along with 38 of their incredible title sequences. Mark, we love title sequences, but nobody does good ones anymore.
No, it's a great idea for a documentary.
Yeah, this is fabulous. This is 2 discs. And we love this. This is absolutely awesome. This is from a new company called Submarine, and it's kind of a cool digipack packaging. And they obviously decided we got to make it graphically very smart if we're going to do something about titles, which are graphically very smart. But these people who do titles, these great title designers, completely unsung heroes. Nobody knows who they are. And this shines a spotlight on, I think, an aspect of filmmaking which is kind of a lost art, but I gotta say, you know what made me so happy? You know what one of the praised sequences is on here?
Star Wars.
OSS 117. Yeah, the first OSS 117.
Awesome.
It's terrific. Love it. And Wall Street Money Never Sleeps was another recent one. So there is some good work being done now, not as much as there should be, but we're very happy that they elected to do this. It's a nice tribute to people who don't often get praised. All right, gods@digigods.com. Send us your suggestions for new openings. We only got 6 weeks left. 6 weeks to get a lot of new openings from our listeners. So send them on in, gods@digigods.com. Mark, what else do we have to jammer about?
Goodbye.
Goodbye. All right. See you next week.